Equally, consumption, India is a consumption-driven economy. 60% of our GDP comes from consumption. Consumption obviously means e-commerce. We also have quick commerce.
Hello, I'm here today with Mr. Deven Pabaru from IndoSpace. Deven, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'd like to start asking you to introduce yourself and explain a bit about your role at IndoSpace, please.
My name is Deven Pabaru, and I have about 30 years of experience in looking at very interesting world of supply chain and logistics. Right now, my role at IndoSpace Development Management Company is to look at the customer relationships and look at how do I add value in their business as a business partner, not only looking at creating world-class industrial and logistics spaces for them, but also become relevant for them in providing them services which are adjacent to a good facility, which could be energy services, which could be other services which will make them more productive in their day-to-day operations. Very exciting times ahead, and enjoying my existence here.
How would you describe the current phase of the Indian industrial and logistics real estate cycle now?
So this is perhaps the fourth year where India has been absorbing about 50 million plus square foot of space in industrial and logistics. We have been working on this for many, many years. So as an industry, I am extremely happy that this trajectory is continuing. This coming year and the years ahead, we will be doing almost the same kind of absorption. And in the next 5 years, the CAGR of close to 10 to 12% is what I am looking at in this particular sector. The top 8 cities contribute almost 80% of the consumption market, the industrial base, etc. And we are seeing that grade A is going to become a bigger and a bigger part of this entire demand. So very, very optimistic about this trajectory, that the trajectory will continue the way it is right now.
Talking about supply and demand, do you think it's catching up or is it still growth ahead? Talking specifically about grade A warehousing.
I see that in India, we are extremely prudent with capital in the way we deploy capital, and all of the people were there in the room also today. The supply and demand are just evenly poised. In fact, I don't think, except some markets in North where we believe that there is some bit of oversupply. Other than that, most of the other markets, the supply and demand are very evenly poised, and all the developers are playing a very prudent and a very mature play in this space. The way I look at it is that as the demand shifts perhaps from one sector to the other, there will be some amount of recalibration in a particular market where the size of the buildings or any of the other parameters which are within our control. But by and large, supply and demand are evenly poised in the market.
And where is the demand coming from? E-commerce, 3PL, manufacturing, something else?
So last year we did record absorption in manufacturing, but manufacturing and industrial is getting a lot of boost from government ecosystem, things like PLI or ISM or various other policy initiatives that are being taken, because that is the need of the hour. Equally, consumption, India is a consumption-driven economy. 60% of our GDP comes from consumption. Consumption obviously means e-commerce. We also have quick commerce. There is a lot of runway there in terms of the growth that is available. Our penetration of e-commerce is in about 14-15% in top 8 cities. Sky is the limit practically for going from 14-15 to maybe 25-26, 28 in the next 3 to 4 years. So they are also growing. So the end use sectors are all growing. So whether I call of e-commerce or retail, whether I say manufacturing and industrial, in the manufacturing and industrial also there are new manufacturing ecosystems which are coming up, which are completely new value chains which are getting created. Solar modules being one, electronic manufacturing systems being the other. These are new value chains which are coming in India largely for domestic market as well as the export market. We anyway have a very robust ecosystem for auto, for other categories which have always been there. And therefore, I think it's a healthy mix of about 4 or 5 sectors, and they are all helping us combine and create these asset classes.
I heard a lot, and of course, I'm sure you heard this a lot, as India is the alternative for China manufacturing, and I'm sure that this contributes a lot to the rise of warehousing, logistics, and this sector, right?
Correct. So one of the reasons is that while we have trade with various parts of the world, China is one of our biggest partners. So both from a perspective of import, and we are also looking at export. We believe that as response times have to become much better, much faster, and with the new change in the world order, everybody is nearshoring. We are also, because of our large domestic market, manufacturing is obviously a big focus for the government of India. So yes, China plus one or even otherwise, India will manufacture much more
That's
of
great.
what it was.
It's fantastic.
Second, we have signed, as I mentioned earlier also, that we have signed treaties with practically about 25 odd countries, and roughly about 75% of world GDP is what we are plugging into. So India is becoming that much more outward focused as much as domestic focused. And in that sense, we will obviously plug into the global supply chains and do our bit in terms of trying to do more value add here for our domestic market, and also are looking forward to a lot of export performance improving in various sectors, so that we can, make our manufacturing and domestic consumption almost equally poised.
It's interesting that you mentioned about plugging to the world, and during the discussion that finished just a few minutes back, you mentioned that the plug to the world helps the Indians to move fast, and sometimes some old things from the past stands up. So
Correct.
how do you see that happening? It's at the same time,
Yeah.
as we were speaking before, it's fast, but sometimes you got stuck on some stupid things, let's say like
Correct.
that, right?
So for us, as I said, we have right now our focus is to learn from the world, and a lot of places and a lot of things that, for example, the kind of investments the government has done on infrastructure improvement, in the kinds of roads that we have made, in the types of new ports, new infrastructure coming, etc., has essentially reduced our logistics cost, which was hitherto a big drag on our export competitiveness. And therefore, there is a lot of work that we have done on the infrastructure side, which can be leveraged today. And that leverage will also allow us to make the products far more cost competitive when we are plugging into with the world. At the same time, in technology, and that's where the treaties help us, there are a lot of new technologies that we are getting to India, because we at our kind of stage in manufacturing ecosystems, for example, semiconductor, these are new things that we are learning, because we want to get that for our domestic consumers, and therefore those new supply chains and ecosystems are getting created at this point of time, which is, I think, a very big opportunity for India as a country. And we will also obviously benefit the world somewhere in terms of making it easier and cost competitive, because obviously we have a very large economy, and which will help the other countries also to benefit. We are also a very young country. Our average age is 28. So we bring a lot of energy, youthful energy, to any manufacturing or services piece, and help the world also reduce their cost. We are already a very big service provider to the world through our IT services. We believe that we can play a much bigger role also in certain other product categories.
Definitely.
And that's what we are aiming for as a country.
Programs like Make in India, is it really pushing a structural shift?
Yes. So all the PLI is nothing but a production linked incentive. There are a lot of categories where we have announced PLI, close to 20 odd sectors. Electronics is just one of them. Defense, there are certain PLIs being looked at. There are certain other categories which are more meant for MSMEs, which is small manufacturers. There is an export element, and how do you support a small manufacturer to actually plug into that? and how do I look at ecosystem so that that ecosystem can give lot many more manufacturers access to the world market. And government is therefore very intelligently and very strategically is focusing on those sectors which can really benefit both to domestic consumers also and to the global consumer also. And through a treaty will reach actually the world markets far more efficiently than what it was perhaps reaching before.
It's good. Yes, in the end, it's fantastic for the economy. Talking about expectations from occupiers, what changed looking today versus 5 years ago?
So, we are getting involved with them at an earlier design stage. So, for example, one of the expectation of one of the customer is to perhaps look at how do we create a assembly line vertical, which is something that for a product which is light, we can actually go to 2 or 3 levels. And the moment I get into a design stage at an early stage in his planning, then I am able to get more efficiency out of that same building. How do I bring speed into operations if I am involved at the design stage of that factory?
Okay.
I am in a position to influence the productivity which he will achieve at the end of when the building is ready. Similarly, we are seeing that it is a network play. Can I be near a port, and therefore can I define my service or my building in such a way that my transit time to from the airport, and therefore how do I build those thinkings or design elements at the time of inception itself. And to me, that is one part of it. The second part of it is, what is my energy consumption going to be? Can I bring in solar early enough?
Okay.
Can I bring other energy
Other kind
adjacency
of
in that?
energy providers, yes.
Can I bring in at all my docks, can I put charging infrastructure so that tomorrow when the fleet becomes completely electric, I am anyway ready. I am able to plan for it today.
Wow.
Am I in a position to plan in advance so that my cost of operations and my speed of operation more than the cost of operations, which speed
Yes, speed nowadays
automatically,
is
speed will automatically decrease my cost.
Yes.
This thinking is a given. And can I think network, which means, can you interchangeably give me 2 facilities, half in Chennai, half in Pune, instead of 100% in Chennai?
Well,
Can I use that because half my customer base is here, half my customer base is there. So, for us to get involved at an early stage in design helps finally the system productivity.
Right.
And that is one of the things that I am seeing that has changed in the expectations of an occupier is changing in that sense.
That's lovely to hear. And looking ahead, next 3 or 5 years, who are going to be the winners at this sector?
So, I think the market is infinite in India. Some amount of patience, and I think practically all the mature and the seasoned players will benefit out of it. Frankly, one single player will not be able to make sense of this opportunity. So, we need an ecosystem and a cluster. We are a very small, compared to what the world is, we are a very small market today from a logistics and industrial real estate perspective. So, we believe that if the economy grows, and I think economy will grow at about 6-8%, 20-25% CAGR for a grade A developer is not a big ask.
Yes.
The only point to keep in mind in India is that if you plan for X number of years, maybe you will have to wait for 1 or 2 more years because that's the way Indians are. Other than that, then nothing else. So, some amount of patience.
Okay.
Because sometimes the cycles will turn and we know how the world is. First, we had a term called VUCA. Now we have a BANI, which is brittle, anxious, right? You can't figure out, the world changes much faster.
Yes.
But other than that, these are blips which will come. I think long-term structurally, nothing to worry.
Deven, any final message or anything you'd like to communicate to the market using the opportunity we are here and to our global audience?
I think the key piece in India is that growth is assured. The piece that one has to prepare for is that sometimes we will move extremely fast and sometimes we will move extremely slow. But net, you are good.
Fantastic. Deven, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today.
Thank you.
Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Bye.